You're welcome back. This is Newsfile. It's your most authoritative news analysis show. My guests, Roxy Nelson, Dafema Paul, Abdul Malik Kubako, Ben Epson, and Sami Ewuku. And now let's go to your camp directly, as in the NDC's camp. You know, when we went for the break, Sami was, having a discussion with you, and the two of you were laughing that at a point, the Siyedin Ketia says you had 18 thieves or 17 thieves that were, canvassing to become flag bearers or flag bearer of the NPP. You never thought that there would be a day when your numbers will rise as they are now. What's the number now? 16 or how many?
14, 15.
14, 15?
25.
Oh, good.
Really? Okay. Well, you were here the last time, and you were very clear that you think that, everybody else should go and relax and allow John Mahama, to make a comeback and rescue your party from opposition. What do you make of what is going on now? It's appeared clearly the others think that there's a way to get John Mahama out, if even he will not listen to non-party members who suggest that he should take a back seat and only support those who, are interested. They're ganging up against him, holding meetings in his absence.
Now, there's an expression that be very careful what you wish for or criticize, because you may get it too soon. I agree that when the NPP, when President Kufuor was exiting, and they needed to have a replacement for him, and so many people decided to try their luck. And so the numbers, indeed, we were shocked by the numbers. So at the time, that's about 206, 207, thereabouts. And so we criticized. I was part of the young people then who criticized the sheer numbers, because I thought that they should give Nana Addo, now President Akufo-Addo, the opportunity, because he's been trying since '99. It's the same logic I hold. But I never thought that the NDC will find ourselves in that situation. Yet we are a Congress, we believe in democracy. And so if anybody will want to test his luck, it's fine. But it only, now we have eggs in our faces. The criticism we level against the NPP. 11, 12 years ago, we find ourselves in a similar situation. Now, leaving the generals to the specifics. If you look at all the persons who are seeking to compete with the former president for the Flagbearership, all of them have been his appointee, either as a board chairman somewhere, or as a minister or a deputy minister somewhere, or a chief executive in some state institution. And so my position is that who better debates the president in terms of policy positions and issues other than the person who appointed you? If indeed there has to be a debate between the work of the NPP in government now, the first 4 years, I should say, and the 4 years of President Mahama, is the best person to defend his work against the work that President Nana Addo would have done by the turn of next year or 2020. And so on that score alone, I think that we should give the former President JM the opportunity to come and serve the other term that the Constitution says he still has to come and serve, the 4-year term. As to the fact that all the other aspirants are ganging up against him, holding meetings in his absence, I don't know what you mean by his absence, because they are all conducting their campaigns at various places in the country. I don't think there's a place where they commonly meet.
Well, if you listen to Sylvester Mensa yesterday, clearly there's a group, at least 5 of them, who have come together. Yeah, gang of 5 who have come together and have been holding meetings. And he says clearly that what they are up to is that President Mahama doesn't believe in change. That's what they are seeking.
It worries me when people speak like that and speak as if they speak for the NDC. If Sylvester is seeking to lead the NDC, he should campaign on the policies that he thinks he can implement to take the NDC higher. But to say that your contestant doesn't believe in change, I don't know what kind of change he speaks of. Internal change or external change. Change as to what? As to policy direction or as to what? He's not been able to expatiate on that. And so if 5 of you, I think there are about 14 of them, because I know of the former president, I know of Sarai himself, Guzitano,
Joshua Alabi,
Professor Alabi, Dr. Gabra, Ricketts Hagan.
You have Eleklim Agbamava. You also have Nuruddin Idrisu.
Yes.
Stephen Atubiga, the electrician.
Yes. If you say that out of this lot, only 5 of you are holding common meetings.
Of course, Abang Bagwing is there.
Yes, exactly. My second deputy speaker. So you are holding a common meeting to do what? So that you, out of from amongst you the 5, 1 person will now file, and the rest 4 will support. Because I see that they are still conducting their individual campaigns. Now the meetings they are holding, I would have loved if the effect is that they'll present a common front in the campaign, because we just have about a month to go. Yes, no, we have about 2 months to go.
Yeah, December.
2 months to go. So, if indeed you want to make an impact, even touring the regions and the constituencies alone, you may not be able to even exhaust it within these 2 months. So they've done a lot of work within the past year. So I don't see where this proposition is coming from and where it will take them. I want to urge them to focus on their individual campaigns and leave JM to also focus on his.
Interesting.
Yes.
Right. So, Ben Efson, this is your comfort zone. What do you think are the chances of this this group? And should President Mahama listen to the advice that is coming from various quarters, including from Professor Yanka, that look, you've done 1 term, it's okay.
It's Kojo
Yanka, yes. You've done 1 term, it's okay. Jimmy Carter did 1 term. He's known to have done a lot more better when he was out of office than he was, rather than, go back in the manner President Mahama is doing.
Well, Samson, if Kojo Yanka believes in democracy, then I think that Kojo Yanka's suggestion, maybe the majority of delegates on December 7th will take that decision. But this suggestion of them coming together, I made this suggestion in May. That is 6 months back.
Really?
Some of them individually called me and told me their peace of mind. I said, it's only a suggestion. If after 6 months you are not coming, like MP said, you should be campaigning together. First and among the 5, you have to decide who will be the candidate and who will be the running mate.
Apart from Sylvester Manster, first of all, do we know who the 4 are? There's 5.
Guzitando, Spiogabra, Ricketts, and Bagman.
Okay.
They are the 5.
Okay. But they are stronger contenders.
Yes, like Sir John said, share delegates. No, the 5 of them meeting, there are positives and negatives. If they had started it about 6-7 months ago, I believe that they would have. Can you imagine an unconfirmed delegate, a delegate who has not taken a decision who to vote for, and you see these 5 on the same platform, saying that give us this, give us. Anyway, let me say that when I made that suggestion, Professor Alabi said he wasn't interested. He can take on and win on his own steam. So the 5, you can see that.
He's had a change of mind.
No, he hasn't joined.
He's not part of the 5.
He's not part of the 5. Yeah, he's not part of the 5. So you go out and you campaign individually, you begin to wonder what is happening. I think that, okay, let me be straightforward. Many of them, I believe, want to be close second. Many of them are looking forward to post-2024. I think that they know John will win. They want to be close second. Then between 2024, try and maintain links. People have said, well, don't contest. He thinks that, Mahama thinks that maybe he owes it to the people in the party, the mistakes that he has made. And I'll give an example, classic example of him realizing what he has done wrong. You know, I'm completing my 6th book. And it's 2016, why MPP won, why NDC lost, and 18 months of MPP rule. One of the most annoying things that the grassroots executives stayed away were these fan clubs, which he has now said, if you support me, join NDC.
Party first.
And we use audio for the research I'm doing, and you hear people's voices, that anger. Let's say somebody is going to Region A. They don't have motorbikes, bicycles to go to the interior, talk about pickups. Mama is going there towards 2016, a day to elections, to the campaign time.
No, a day to the visit.
Yeah, a day to the visit.
2 days.
Yeah, 2 days to visit. You see items.
Yes.
With for Mama, that for Mama. Branded T-shirt. Go and stay in the hotel in the capital. Flaunt their weight about. Mama goes there with a program that is not even drawn up by the regional executives. They do all they can do.
Constituency.
The constituency.
So then they feel isolated.
Yes, and they move out. If you're in Ghana, you fold your hand. We need motorbikes you can't get. Now he has said it. If the money was not coming from him, I don't think that anybody would have funded those fan clubs without his knowledge. Like he's saying now, if you want me to give it to the party, even billboards. NDC MPP, when they go to the regions and they want to read billboards, they give it to the carpenters and the masons and so on. They can also, I'll mention them, somebody had a contract that he will take knockdown billboards to the regions and go and place it there. Clearly, he has seen the mistakes. If somebody maybe had told Mahama that ran up 2016 that, look, you can have your own faction, like most faction, Rawlings faction, he was misled. If even the founder of the party had failed in that attempt to carry the party on his back, he's still an important factor, segment in the party.
An institution.
And you can't take that away. Now he has learned his lessons. And it's going to be interesting, because I think that Mahama will win. Is the margin of victory, and maybe somebody will play close second. That's going to be very, very interesting.
Kojo Bonso just joined. What does he see?
Distant second.
Oh, Kojo Bonso, I believe that maybe for some of them, they want to have on their CV attempted. I'll be surprised if out of the 14 we have, if more than 7 people
Able to file
and their names will appear on the December 7 ballot paper to elect the flag bearer. Some of them may want to just, and I don't think that negotiation should not work. But you know, people are making themselves known. Most of them are unknown. I'm sure everybody is looking post 2020. And it will be interesting, especially with the November 3rd or 7th national elections. You can see that there was an earlier plan to try and get John knocked out, and it fizzled out. You see, many of the flag bearer aspirants, all of a sudden on my rounds, I realized that they were campaigning for Hudihaya
as chairman.
As chairman, because they felt that the minority leader in parliament, Arun Edris, is from the north. If Hudihaya becomes the chairman of the NDC, they'll say, we have 2 leading members from the north. Why take a candidate from the north? That got blown, so they've now changed the strategy. So it's good that they are energizing the party. That is why one of the difficulties the party financing, you will see why the delegates, they have an unwritten agenda, Samson. They realize that immediately for 2-3 years to the elections,
There's a lull.
if like honorable like this, like from now, people can walk into his house and eat a mutual with him. Once he gets elected, the year after they put beware of the dogs at the gate.
No, I'm not like that.
You know, they do that. And some of our researchers are teachers, so I made them record some audio. He was asking the class, "What do you want to be?" One person said, "Party delegate." And the teacher said, "Why?" When I heard the audio for 30 minutes, I was laughing.
You were shocked.
He said that he has realized. He said in tree, but I'm translating. He said that if he's listening to the tree. Oh, maybe yeah, 2 years ago, Mammy Kwame Deminia uniform, roof. To the extent that they know that from 2nd, 3rd, 4th years, you appoint them for internal party elections, you pay them, the MP will not blow dust on you. So it's an unwritten rule. So monetization within these things, it will never stop. So all those campaigning, I mean, definitely if people come to you, okay, you have to give them some form of transport. So it's good for the
NDC. If you say they are looking at post-2020,
yes,
is that to suggest that if, Mahama doesn't win the election, he will not contest again?
You contest, but they'll be in a better position. Some of them privately, you can see that they will still maintain the links that they are having now. See, Mahama doesn't win. Mama in 2020 will be about 66, 2024. So if he dies, the contest. They also contest him because first, you can't ask people to give you a 3rd chance when you've had the 1st chance already. So most of them are setting the links now, planting the corn.
You say you can't ask you, they will draft you. They did to Akufo-Addo. They've been doing. Mahama right now will say he's not doing it because he feels like doing it, because it is the party that says.
But I know that at least 2 or 3 of them are planting seeds of corn.
Okay.
That post 2020, they'll be keeping in touch.
Right.
To 2024.
Now, Samuel, John Mahama has been saying that, look, you guys say, why is he coming? Yet you say he's damaged goods. It looks like you are really afraid of him. What do you say? And in the picture, it looks like the MPP is more comfortable with somebody else rather than John Mahama.
Well, first of all, I'm not the one to advise the NDC. And we wish them luck, but not success in 2020. And it is clear because I can't wish them success at our expense. But first of all, the NDC is here to come to terms as to why they lost elections 2016. Mr. Mahama on an occasion said the horse was lame. People disagree and they think the jockey was incompetent, not the horse, because it was this same horse that brought him to power in 2012. Then again, you've had quite some leading members of the NDC, making quite some serious statements. With your indulgence, let me just state about 4. You have Namwale, your former member of parliament, saying Mahama's lack of vision cost the NDC 2016 elections. You have Alban Bagbin, a former appointee of Mr. Mahama, saying Mahama was a reckless driver and drove NDC to defeat. You have Victor Beho saying let's support Joshua Labi, not someone who is a failure. And then you also do have former Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Ken Joasa, saying election 2020, Mahama not marketable to voters. So to some of these party elites and party figures, they think that the cause was the candidate Mahama. You have Mr. Mahama too, on the other hand, saying my horse was lame. Then he goes further to say that we lost the elections because it was rigged recently. Then in another instance, he said, God wanted us to lose so Ghanaians can appreciate what we did. My brother, when you have the main candidate in that election who doesn't even understand why he lost and blaming his opponent outside the party, but you have people who served with him in that government blaming him for their defeat, is a very serious matter. Then I take you to the Kwesi Botwe report. They said the image of the party wasn't credible to voters. They also said the party had lost its ethical values. So the NDC personally should have done what the MPP did post-2008. We had the R3 to reflect, to rebuild, and to recapture. This is an instance where you have the former president. Now they are saying, my brother Roxanne, don't compare apples to oranges just because they are fruit. I'm saying this because in 2008 or 2007, when the MPP had 17 aspirants, the sitting president was not part of the contest. And there was no ex-president part of the contest. So we had an exiting president. So the stage was set for people to compete for the party to elect our best foot forward. In the case of Mr. Mahama, it's different. People he appointed are saying that, look, we feel that he was the main guy, he was incompetent, so we are contesting.
So hold on there. I'm told to go to break now. So we'll be right back. Okay, so Sami, conclude in a minute. You had a couple of hitches in your last statement. So,
anyway,
yeah.
You're an amazing dictator. But, well, you distorted my thought a bit, but it's fine, we are back. So for me, I strongly believe Mr. Mahama still doesn't get why he lost the elections. And for the NDC as a political party, it's important that they revisit the Kwesibotwe report because it was quite, exhaustive of the matters. Even though you've denied publicly the content of the report, it is available to people. Now, to the issue of 96...
We haven't denied the content.
No, in public.
Okay, not your disagreement or...
My brother, you did say 96 members of parliament had endorsed Mr. Mahama. I have this extra from my Enjoy Online. I was deceived. Thought Mahama endorsement paper was attendance register. NDC MP. And he's part of the 96 you counted. So if he's part. So if you don't take care, you end up doing some calculations and it went wrongly. For us in the MPP, we are watching closely. And I think by far, we are the only political party that seemed battle ready for 2020 after conducting all our internal processes. But those within the NDC setup, I think that it's about time that we need a strong opposition. Opposition must be credible. And when I listen to some of the statements of Mr. Mahama, it runs contrary to what the NDC want to achieve in 2020. People have said that, well, it's time he takes a backseat. But there are many people in the NDC who still believe that he is the cash man now. He has the money. So let's field him. Let's dissipate the cash he has so that 2024, we can have maybe a new phase for us to also project. And I will run up by saying that whoever the NDC fails in 2020, we will not underestimate the NDC, even when they decide to fail somebody we do not know. And the MPP will campaign in 2020 ×2 of what we did in 2016.
Interesting.
Then lastly, we are also determined to win the elections on our own strength and dictate our pace as to the message we want to send out to the Ghanaian people.
Okay, so Dr. Clementa Park says that the only advice JM has and will listen to is that of the delegates, the rank and file of the NDC. It's that simple. Should this be the attitude?
Yes, and you know what? I'm surprised that President Mahama is not focusing on delegates alone. I can see what he's doing. No, he's clearly the favorite. He'll win, hands down. I'll be shocked if he loses this thing. Their focus should be on delegates, like Apak is saying, and perhaps the Kwesibotwe report, because they know the contents. What we put out are not true. So they should focus. Something went wrong with the party machinery in terms of election 2016.
Including the clubs, which he's addressing.
So if
no
you are dealing,
anymore.
I'm sure perhaps that is in the report. Is it? Is it in the report?
It's there. It's there.
You see, so that should the focus. But he decided to, some of them, not only him, not only President Mahama, some of them have decided to stretch the scope. They are talking to school children, they are talking to everybody, and they are launching national issues. In Mr. Mahama's case, you see, because of who he's been before, he's launching national issues because none of his competitors really have the same level of
the clout.
But you see, if he's not careful, his campaign will suffer premature ejaculation before he wins the election. Yeah. He's launched national issues, so he's being contested by his opponents, not just the internal opponents, the external opponents, are already dealing with him on all those issues. He would win the primaries all right. He would become the flag bearer. By that time, I'm sure perhaps the campaign would have degassed. He would have been muzzled so badly, and I'm not talking of insults. I'm talking of people checkmating the things he's putting out there and debasing them using facts. So I'm surprised. There's a little bit of lack of focus. Again, some of his internal opponents, they are making the point that, look here, this man will run only one term. They don't see that as too good for the party. They want somebody who could win and run 2 terms. My view is that at this stage, he's the only choice they have. Perhaps who he picks as running mate then should be looking beyond the 2024.
Right.
So he could go 1 term, but depends on who he puts there as his running mate.
Okay.
The party could still remain competitive towards the 2024 elections.
Right. Okay.